guys, I'm Corey, the art archaeologist, and welcome to this really fun and quick little treasure hunting Tuesday video. So I hike a lot. I try to hike every day, and sometimes when I'm out hiking, I like to collect these little stones. So I wanted to show you how to just wire wrap a stone real quick today and make it look really beautiful like these. So we're going to wrap this one here. These are a few more that I've gotten, and when I get these, I have a little bucket, little plastic bucket I keep in my laundry room, and I just come home and dump these in the bucket, and then once I get a few of them, I soak them in hot soapy water for a few hours, and then I take a toothbrush and really scrub them. I scrub all the crevices and all of that out, and then of course I wash my hands very diligently, because you know these could have deer pee, bear pee, all kinds of stuff on them, so you want to be really careful with cleaning them. And then you end up with this beautiful clean and dry stone. So I've decided to go ahead and wrap this one in silver wire. I get most of my wire at Hobby Lobby, but I get it all over. 22 gauge is my favorite gauge for wire wrapping, and it can on occasion be a tougher gauge to find, but if you can get close to 22, you'll be doing great. Now I've cut one piece of wire, and this just comes with practice. This piece of wire here is, the bigger the stone, the more wire you need. This is one, okay, a little, it's probably about 25 inches. It's a little over 2 feet, this piece of wire, and you're gonna need 2 pieces of this. So the tools I'm using today are, I've just got my curved sawtooth pliers, and you don't need curved. I like the curved, they reach in. You need this to tuck your wire, and the curved ones reach in way more effectively, so I do prefer the curved, but you don't have to have them. You can use straight. And then I've got some straight needle nose pliers with no serrated inner edges, and this doubles as a wire cutter as well, which I use both sides of these all the time. And then I've just got my regular round wire pliers. So all 3 of these I generally use in all of my jewelry making. These are my go-to tools here. So we're going to be working with this one first real quick, and then I just need to, and I always say this, you want to hold on to this, because if you let this go, it'll come all unraveled on you in a hurry. So I'm going to pull out this end, and ever so carefully just keep pulling it until I get enough to get the length right. And I just keep running my hand down the wire just like so until I get it lined up with the end of this. And then just come in with your cutters and give it a whack. Now you've got 2, and the whole time I have held this thing so that it doesn't come undone on me. Oh, and it's happened, and it'll probably happen again. It's just part of being a wire worker. Okay, so now I've got my 2. Let me back you up a tiny bit. I want to try to keep you as close as I can, but you've got to be far enough to see. So you want to take your stone at first and take the first piece of wire, and you want to lay it on the bottom, determine which end you want up and where you want your bail to be, and which end you want to hang down, and then hold that and make sure that your wire is relatively equal. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do really want this to be as equal as you can get it, okay? And then you want to just flip it over. This is the hardest part, is getting it started. And then you just want to do the same thing with your other wire. And I'm going to go ahead and line up these ends together and take my pinky and just kind of determine closely that center point there. Okay, that's good enough. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't require perfect. So when you watch my videos, those of you that watch my stuff know that. Okay, so this is the mess you have right now. So what you want to do is take these two on one side over here, and you want to just give them a couple turns, and it's okay if it's loose and messy. Okay, and now as many turns as you go right here is going to determine how high up this rides on your stone. I don't like to give it more than 7 on this first one. Now you're going to flip it over and do the exact same thing to this side here. And now you can you really want to pay attention and snug it up a little bit while you're on this point right here. Snug it up as much as you can by hand. And this can be even or not. You don't want these two too far apart, but they can be a little off. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so now it looks like this. So then what you want to do is just bend all that wire up on both sides, just like so. Okay. And then what you've got is you've got these two in the front now, and then these two are lining up in the back. So I don't like a lot of this twisted wire work in the front of my pieces. So what I'm gonna do is try to keep these out of the way, and you wanna get it as tight as you can. Every time now, I'm just gonna twist this as tight and close to the stone as I can. And I'm only going to give it about 3 twists. Now, if you like this look a lot, you can go higher. You can go much higher if you wish. Okay, and then this is where it just becomes this repeating process. So you want to, again, get it as tight as you can. I sound like a broken record. And then I gave it 3 full twists again. Okay, and then same thing, up. Just snug that up, and then you're automatically getting, this is such a tough thing to do and stay in frame. I really wanted to make another wire wrapping video because I'm out of frame on my older one. Okay, I'm going a little higher on this one, but not too much. Same thing. And then you want to take advantage. See this notch right here in the stone? You want to take advantage of those notches and twist your wire right into that notch when you're able to do so, which is quite often, believe it or not. And then that gives your whole wire wrapping some more security. Look at how beautiful that's already turning out to be. So now I've got to push this one up again. And now we're getting closer to the top, but I'm gonna need another turn real quick. And like I said, I don't like a lot of twists on the front and backs of my piece. So I'm just gonna do enough to make it work here. It really, it's a little easier than it looks. The hardest part is starting it, really, truly, okay? So now I've got this next one. And the longer your stone, the more wire work you can do up, which I think is kind of fun. So I want to do this one more time before I close it all up because I really want this to stay secure where I put the wire. So I'm going to go ahead and twist this just one more time. And I'll tell you guys, I'm only going to do a few again. I think I'll do about 5. Okay, there's about 5 or 6 right there on this side, and I want this to pretty much line up again. But I am well practiced at wire wrapping, and if you give yourself the opportunity to practice this, you can really whip out a bunch of these pretty darn quick. Okay, so now I have pretty much pulled everything together at the top. So now what you want to do is take these two wires and kind of pull them together, and same with these, the ones that you twisted. And then you want to twist them all together at the top like this. This is why it's really important to get it snug right up to the top, because if you don't, this part can end up very wonky and uneven, okay? So you definitely want to take care on this top part here. So I'm going to twist this up probably, at least a ½ inch, about like so. That might even be 3/4. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, it's almost 3/4 inch there, okay? And this is gonna end up really bulky. So now I've got these two wires together and I've got these two wires together. So I wanna pick the longest one of the two and pull it straight up. And I want to do that on both sides. I want the two longest pulled straight up. See that? And now these two down here, what I like to do with them is one at a time, because it looks so much better if you do it one at a time. You can kind of hold everything with your flat. Don't use your sawtooth on this. Use your flat. You can even use your acrylic covered pliers. And then I'm simply going to just keep wrapping this evenly down that shaft of wire. And I'm going to keep going and going. And then when I get to the bottom, I want to start coming back up the wire. And I kind of want to keep it really close and tight together. You don't want to go way down and then way up, or you're going to have a big mess. And then you can get to a point where you can twist that. See, I'm just completely making this wire shorter. Twist, 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 until you've got it all the way snugged, as short as you can get it. See that right there? Now, this is where I like my sawtooth pliers to come in. I want to come in here, and I better keep squeezing that as tight as I can, because you do not want that loose end sticking out, especially if you're selling your jewelry. So make sure that's nice and tucked in. And these sawtooth pliers serve really well to make that happen, okay? So now here's my two longest, and then you want to just do the same exact thing with your other shorter wire. And it can be a bit of an awkward process, but it's fun, and it actually goes quite quickly. Okay, and I'm just gonna spin, spin, spin that closed, and I'm moving it up as I'm spinning it. Just kind of, it'll automatically try to rest on itself the previous wrap, so it's really easy. It works with you if you let it. Okay, and then a nice tight tuck. This is why I like the 22 gauge, because I can really get in here and tuck it. It's malleable. My hands sometimes tend to cramp up. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, darn it. So the gauge of wire matters to me. If it's too thick and too strong, I really can't work with it because my hands cramp up too much. So that's the reasoning behind the 22 gauge. Now what you want to do is, you've got these two long wires here, right? Look at how pretty that's coming out. So now what I want to do is just twist these, and I want to twist them for probably another ½ inch. This is your bail. You can twist all four too, but it makes it much more bulky, and I just don't like all that bulk on my bail. So, okay, I've got a little over a ½ inch, probably 3/4 of an inch right there. Now you want to take your round nose pliers and you want to go to the bottom and pretty small on here. This determines the size of your bale. That's what's so great about round nose pliers, because they start tiny and get bigger. So I want to do a 90-degree. Here's the front of my, you want to determine, I want to wear this either way. Okay, but I need to bend this towards the front or the back, 90 degrees. See that? Then I'm going to come further in on my needle nose pliers, and I'm simply going to wrap this wire down and around in a loop, just like that, okay? And then I'm going to slightly bend this so that it lines up to itself and looks nice. And this part right here can take a little bit of maneuvering, okay? Now you've got that, and then I'm gonna go back to my flat, smooth-edged needle nose pliers, and I'm gonna hold that whole thing down. I'm gonna grab one wire and pull it completely out of my way. And then I'm going to work with one wire at a time, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to use these 2 wires now to fill in any like places that got missed in here. And I really like, I try to never waste wire, so whatever I have left over gets wrapped. And I really like this to have a bulky look to it. This is almost longer than I like. I really prefer this a little bit more. See how it's quite a bit shorter and bulkier, but this is a beautiful look as well. So it depends on how long you make your twist from the top of your pendant to when you start to twist your bill, okay? And you have total control over that. And if you like it really short, let's say you like it even shorter than this, then it's just going to be more bulky with all the wire around it, which I love this look. I really like that messy, bulky look of the wire. So you have plenty of options, and then you do the exact same thing with your last wire. I've been finding some gorgeous little rocks on my walks lately, and you would be amazed at the stuff you can find out in the woods that you can implement into your art. Just some really amazing, beautiful nature pieces. And I like to leave tobacco when I'm out collecting. I learned that from a friend many years ago. He would take a bag of tobacco, and if he ever took anything out of the woods, he would leave tobacco as an offering to the woods, and I think that's beautiful, so I do that as well. Okay, so now I used to smoke, and I would just break apart a cigarette and do it that way. Now I buy loose tobacco. So now I've got this one tiny one, and you really want to make sure that your last 2 wires, the ends, are really snug and not poking out, okay? This is these 2 are the hardest ones to get tucked. And then you just simply want to run your fingers over it, spin it in your hand, and make sure nothing's poking out, that it won't get caught on any fabric, clothing, or skin. And then what you want to do is take a look at this, make sure all of this is straight. That is really long, isn't it? I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of like it. It's pretty. So now if this, let's say that's a little wonky like that, just come in with your pliers and you can simply straighten it right up with your pliers or your hand, okay? Now, let's say you've got some loose stuff going on in here and you're concerned that your stone is not going to stay put. You really do want to get it tight as you work this, But you can come in and you want to use your round nose. You do not want to use any kind of a sharp-edged plier on this part, or you can snap your wire. You can even snap your wire with these round nose, so you want to be extra careful at this point. And you can come in and make these really pretty marks, just like so, by twisting. And you just want to go the tiniest bit at a time. Because if you try to wrench down too much on it, like I said, you can just snap that. And there goes all your beautiful work. And there's nothing more frustrating than twisting your hands into a pretzel to get this done in the first place, right? So once you get all of this snugged up here, then your piece is complete. Now let's say you like these lines, but you're not especially thrilled with them. Well, let's say you've got one side that you're only going to have as your front and one side that you're only going to have as your back. You can just do these little twists on one side, okay? And then that's the way that you can keep from having them where you can have a smoother look like this on one side. I like the little bends. I think they add a decorative element. So I like to just come in and do a few of them wherever I see the wire needing to be snugged up a tiny bit. And it really does add this beautiful little decorative element. Now, you probably could put some beads on your wire, but I would not recommend it. And the reason why is because it's going to keep that wire from snugging up to your stone. I would just save the beads for the necklace part of it. You can also add a jump ring and put some dangles hanging down along with your beautiful stone. But anyway, I hope you go hiking and pick yourself up a few beautiful little pieces of rock that you can wire wrap. I like to find the flatter ones, but sometimes I'll even go a little bit bigger like this. And then this crystal here is quite three-dimensional. This one kind of looks like an arrowhead. So it's got that side and that side, but you can really have a great time doing this. And I'm so glad you stopped by for this Treasure Hunting Tuesday. And as always, I invite you to subscribe. And if you got value out of this video, please click the like button because it helps me out a ton and it helps me to keep bringing these videos to you. So click on the subscribe and get all the notifications for the upcoming fun art tutorials. And I will see you soon. Have a great day.